at Stony Creek Metro Park, and it's summertime. We can tell that it's summertime because, well, look at all the green that we can see. The grasses are tall and waving in the breezes. We can see flowers and green leaves on the trees. So we're going to go for a walk and see what else we can see that tells us it's summertime. Let's go out on the observation deck. The observation deck is built way up over Stony Creek, so we'll be able to have a really good look at the valley and see what there is to see. What we can see first is that all the trees have green leaves on them. In the summertime, the trees do have lots of green leaves on them because the green leaves are making food for the trees all summer long. Now we can look over the side of the deck and see Stony Creek. There it is, down there. And look at all the lush vegetation. That means there's lots and lots of plants down there, all growing in the warm summer sun. And other times of year that we wouldn't see as much, but in the summertime, there's lots of green growing things. Now let's go for a walk down by Stony Creek. Now here we are down by Stony Creek itself. We can see lots of little insects dancing above the water and making little rings on the water. And next to the water, next to the creek, we see all kinds of green growing things. Here we are at the first map at Stony Creek Metro Park. And we're going to go on the reflection trail, which is that way. Apparently we're not going that way. We're going this way. Here I come, trying to catch up with the camera. But the turtles are that way. Right down next to Stony Creek, we see all these flowers. Lots of flowers grow in the summertime, and all kinds of insects come to pollinate them. So there's lots of insects down here by the creek. There's insects that like flowers, and then there's dragonflies too, just flying above the water. Dragonflies like to eat other insects, so they come down here by the water because there's lots of other insects to eat. You can see all of those green growing things. The green growing things like the edge of the creek because there's lots of water for them to suck up through their roots. So they can stay nice and green even if it gets dry for a while in the summertime. Look at all the beautiful flowers. That's where we were before, way up there. And now we're down here on our walk. Here's a spot where we can get a little closer to the river. We can see more insects kind of dancing above the top of the water. And now let's go for a walk in the forest. Oops, not that way. The map says go left. Look at the beautiful sun shining down through the tree canopy. We've come out of the woods and into the meadow part. There's some milkweed growing here. Monarch butterflies love milkweed. And all kinds of grasses and flowers. I'm listening to the sounds of the birds over here. Do you see the monarch butterfly? It's orange and it's sitting right there in the middle of your screen. Oh, there it goes. Monarch butterflies will fly from flower to find nectar to eat in the summertime. Beautiful view of the prairie. All those grasses growing and flowers everywhere. And a beautiful blue sky above. There's some butterfly weed. It's that orange flower right there. Definitely a summery scene. green leaves, green grass, and lots of flowers everywhere. Down here in the forest, we see another sign of summer. The pond is quite a bit lower than it usually is. In the summertime, when it gets dry, the pond usually gets a little bit smaller. So it's shrunk a little bit. We can see parts of the logs sticking out that in the springtime would be underwater. Here we are at another pond. We can see all the green things growing on the top of the pond even. The ferns growing under the tree canopy. And oh, look at this pond. I am so excited because I just found a turtle. Let's look down and see it. All right, it's right down there and it's going to start moving here in just a minute. Watch closely. Come on, turtle. There it goes. It's swimming under the water. And now it's coming up to take a breath. Turtles are reptiles and they have to breathe air, so it needs to come up to take a breath. Oh, and now we have a frog. Green frogs are singing in this pond. They're called green frogs not just because they're green, but because that's the kind of frog they are. And they make a twanging sound, so let's listen to the sounds of the green frogs. The green that you see on the top of the water is called duckweed. It's a very small plant that grows on the top of water in ponds. And the frogs kind of like to hide in it. At one point, there was so many frogs singing, it was like a choir. Now we're back on our walk in the woods again. You can see all these green growing things in the forest. And the lovely trees giving us some nice shade. And look down here. There's an old stump. And it looks like it's being chewed on by some little tiny animals who like to eat that sort of thing. And probably some things that like to eat the little bugs that eat the stump. Oh boy, I have to go down that path? Beautiful pond. It's very calm and still. There's no wind to blow it today. But here on the other side is the creek. And it's making a very merry sound as it goes on its way. Down here in the calm, still water of this pond, you can see the whole sky. And look, in this pond there's a lot of green. And this green is of algae. Algae is kind of like a plant. And some of the animals that live in the pond love to eat algae that grows there in the summertime. Let's see if we can see any turtles. Turtles like to sit on the logs and bask in the sun. That means warm up. But it's kind of a hot day today in the summer. So, don't really see any turtles on the log. Let's see if we see any in the water. Oh, there was one. Oh, and here's another. We've had lots of fun at Stony Creek. It's still summer for a little while. What signs of summer can you find around your house?